Good afternoon. My name is Alena Shautsova. I am an immigration attorney from Brooklyn, New York. In today's Legally Speaking seminar, I would like to talk to you about citizenship and what you need to be watching out for when you file for your citizenship application. Well, first of all, of course, you need to verify that you meet basic citizenship requirements, that you have been a permanent resident for required amount of time, and half of the time you remained in the United States. It's either 5 years or 3 years, usually. 3 years is when you marry a US citizen and your conditional resident status has been removed if you first received the conditional permanent resident status. Then it means that if you were a resident, including conditional resident, that time counts too. For 3 years and resided physically in the United States for at least a year and a half from that time, during that time, you will be able to file, and you're still married, you'll be able to file for your citizenship. The important, I think the most commonly spotted issue during such a process is when the couple resides together and they still have a valid marriage, but for whatever reason, usually for financial benefit, the couple believes that they will benefit financially if they do that, they file their taxes separately. In such a situation, you can expect delays and sometimes denials of your citizenship application. And it doesn't matter if you have children together and can show that you have tons of bank accounts together or you bought a house together. If you filed your taxes separately, or married filing separately, expect a problem during your citizenship application. Now, let's talk about other issues that may arise. Let's say somebody had criminal charges and received probation, and by itself the criminal conviction is not a problem. Let's say it's something very small, like disorderly conduct, or it's maybe something like insignificant like shoplifting, but the person was put on probation and filed for his or her citizenship. The citizenship application will not be granted until the probation term is served successfully. It's very important to know that. So even though conviction and charges in themselves are not a problem, but it is the probation that is a problem in such a situation. You can refile your application as soon as the probation is over if the underlying charge is not a problem, but your application will not be granted while the probation is not served and it's still continuing. Another problem with convictions can be when a person receives an arrest, is arrested right before the citizenship application. What happens in a situation like that is that the person still has to show up for an interview, and the best way to handle the situation is to ask for the interview to be rescheduled until you know. It will give you time to resolve the charges. Of course, if the charges are insignificant and you know that most likely they will result in dismissal, so not to lose your filing fee, the best way to handle such a situation is to try to adjourn or reschedule the interview, because the officer will not be able to issue a decision while the charges are pending, and usually the case will be put on hold until the situation is resolved. So those are most common issues with related to small criminal issues. Another situation that you need to watch out for when you file for your citizenship is your taxes. Have you been always paying taxes, and if you owe any taxes? There is a question on application for citizenship: do you owe any taxes? Sometimes people answer no when they owe taxes and they have a payment plan. I suggest that you answer yes, that you owe taxes and you have a payment plan. If there is no opportunity for you to write it, if the answer just a checkbox, yes or no, you should write in your answer as either in addendum to the application, or you can write on the application itself. It's not going to disqualify you from the benefits, but you need to make sure always you provide the most accurate answer. So no officer will be able to say that you lied and you answered yes when you were supposed to answer no, or vice versa. One more thing that you need to watch out for when you file for your citizenship application. All those who receive asylum in the United States and now qualify for citizenship have to remember that the asylum file will be available to the officer during the citizenship proceedings. Even though asylum process is confidential, it's not confidential for the USCIS officer who's going to be handling your citizenship application. So do not forget to list the organization's religious affiliation or other details. Do not think that it's confidential forever. Don't make such a mistake, because actually when people try to intentionally or unintentionally omit some information on the application, thinking that it's no longer important because they already received a green card and they would like to put the previous slide behind them, it's actually not helping them but harming them, because they can be even put into removal proceedings. Because the officer will say, listen, there are inconsistencies in your various applications, and I believe it's related to fraud, let's say. So make sure that you file your application accurately and fully answer truthfully to all questions on that citizenship application. I would say that one more thing you need to remember. You need to also remember to list all the names that you've ever used. Let's say in your country, your name was spelled differently than it's spelled now. You might have multiple middle names or multiple first names sometimes people have, and they do not fit on a green card, so a person uses only one and not two or three. Do not forget to list those names. It's very important. And of course, you can always ask United States government to change your name during the citizenship application. So let's say you don't want to use 4 of your last name of your first names. You can easily ask them to legally keep only one of those names if you'd like, or change your name completely. Let's say you'd like to become George Bush or Michael Jackson. You can do that. That's the most important points I would say one should think of when filing for the citizenship, apart from other more important issues, of course, that one may have, such as serious criminal convictions that result in something other than dismissal, and different conduct that might disqualify one for citizenship. You always should consult with an attorney. And of course, service registration, military service registration for men. That's another issue, and I will probably have a separate video devoted to that. And you can always send your questions to me through my website, www.shautsova.com, and I will do my best to answer those questions. I usually provide free answers to simple questions, and if the question is more complicated, then we will probably need to meet and discuss the situation. Thank you.